Okay. How you guys doing today?
Could be better, bro.
Yeah?
Shit.
You're fucking here, though. You made it.
Yeah.
You made it, man. You made it. You made it to the seat. You made it to midweek checkpoint. So today, I was thinking about this topic for a minute. It comes up a lot. Just overall creativity, you know? And when you break the word down, it starts with create, and which is why I love it so much. I always love this quote: God's gift to us was our creativity, and our gift back to God was creating, you know? And if you actually even look at the word in the dictionary, simple, it says, the use of our imagination or original ideas, especially in the production of artistic work. So when I think creativity, I think out-of-box thinking. I think new ways to solve old problems or new ways to solve new problems and just be open-minded. What does creativity mean to you?
You want to go first?
You can go, man.
Creativity to me is like when you're let's say you're in a tough, unique situation and you have to start thinking outside the box, a different way than you would normally think. For example, I had the greatest responsibility on me or put on me when I was a kid, and it was having the responsibility of taking care of an adult, which was my mom. And at times I had to get very creative in order to figure out how we're going to get through these things. So certain things she couldn't do, she was limited. She was, she couldn't reach things in a certain way. So I had to start getting creative. I would get a stool and I would do the reaching for her, things like that. Now, it's maybe nothing as an adult to say that stuff, but when you're a kid, those are big things. And another thing, it was my suggestion to my dad. I was just talking to my dad. I said, if I could get on this bike and mom could sit in her chair behind the bike and reach the pedals with her feet, that would be better because then we could do it together. And I was just saying it as a kid. I had no thought behind it, really. I didn't know how to do it or how to build it. So he went and told that to the kinesiologist, and the kinesiologist came in and rigged it so that her feet could reach the pedals when she's sitting in her chair behind the bike, and I could get on the bike and actually go through the journey of her walking again together. So, I mean, I got creative in the sense that I said that. Then they applied, like they got it together for me, and then we did it together. And by doing that, it all became like a beautiful art, if you will. And that's kind of like the biggest reality you can have.
So she couldn't ride the bike before?
No, because she couldn't get on it physically, and she couldn't reach it from her chair. So they, like I said, something I said made them do that, and then it worked out. It turned out to be a great thing. So that's creativity beautiful. To me is something like that. It's very profound. It can actually do big things for people.
Right. It's like the people, was anybody trying to get your mom to ride a bike, or is that just your idea?
I was.
You were just trying.
Yeah.
You're the only one.
I was.
So that is completely out of the box thinking. So people think because she's in a wheelchair, she can't ride the bike.
And mind you, I'm 7. I'm coming home from school. I just want to watch Sonic the Hedgehog and WCW and shit.
Right.
And, but I had all that, we had to make dinner together. We had to do a lot of things. And a lot of it fell on me, but a lot of it was me also questioning her knowledge so that I could learn. So it was a learning experience, but it was also molded into creativity. So that's the best way I can explain what it means to me, because it's like that's the deepest way I felt it at a young age.
No, that's beautiful, man. What about you, Jay? What does creativity mean to you?
Creativity is exactly what it is. It's creating something. It's creating something that didn't exist. And I just look at it like I have so many ideas. I have ideas for years, and it's because of lack of. I think that when you don't have a lot, you become more creative. You figure things out. You figure out ways how to do things that's unorthodox. Some people had everything. They had the gym. They had everything that they needed. Whether it's when I was coaching, I was thinking creative. I was thinking outside the box. I was thinking about a new way to play. I'm thinking about how can I best use the gym to my advantage. Some people don't have a gym. Some people have a gym. Some people have everything, can't do nothing with it. So creative is being able to use every space that you can, every option you can. And the most creative people, I'll be honest with you guys, the most creative people is the people that have nothing. Those are the people that can create anything because they didn't have the resources, so they had to think outside the box. Most people had so many things that they had to think outside the box because everything was there. It's already created. Like if you look at a kid could look at a box that a toy comes in and don't even play with the toy and play with the box because his mind is thinking so differently. He's thinking about how I can use this box. He's thinking now about that box is now covered. It may be a table. It might be a shelf. It might be something I could put it in. That's a creative. Creativity is something that is within you. I don't think you got to find it. It's there. I don't have to think about being creative because I just am a creative creature, right? So I think when someone's thinking about being creative, I got to think about being creative. What's going to create my creative juices? Sometimes I think maybe you don't have them. You don't maybe have them because how can you create something that you already have, right? So I never had to think about in my head, how do I become creative? How do I think about this play a different way than everybody else is thinking? I think it's just innate. I think it's just something that I was gifted with. And then it's just my job to show my creativity and tell people and say, just because you're lacking, be creative with the things that you do have. If you have a car and the car ain't that great, figure out how to make the car better. If you're doing something in video, make it look better, right? You may not have it, right? A creative person is going to take this cell phone and it's not going to be a cell phone no more. It's going to be a movie production. That's how he's thinking. He's thinking about, I ain't going to use whatever I have and maximize it. I don't need the toys. I don't need to buy the $1,000, the $15,000 toy.
Top of the line.
I got something that's $100, but I'll make it like $15,000. That's creativity to me.
It's beautiful you said that because you're right. I think a lot of people say, I'm not the creative type. You know, I don't got it. Or they think to themselves they don't got it. And so they don't even try. But the beauty actually comes in trying. And the beauty comes in coming and sitting down and trying and doing it. And as you do it, ideas come, you know? And you might not have the idea before you even started. Shit, you might not even know where it's going. But when you sit down and you actually do it, I believe God makes an opening and actually allows you to see things and bring ideas in from the other side. And now you can create something you didn't even think you could possibly exist, you know? Creativity is trippy too, because you can have a clash. Like we all could have a creative meeting. We could have a project. It could be this podcast. It could be anything. And you could have ideas clashing because of creativity. So maybe Drew has a different idea of where we're supposed to go, and I have a different idea where we're supposed to go. And maybe Jay has a different idea where we're supposed to go. It's not a bad thing. I think it's a great thing because we need differences. We need different ridges. We need different valleys. We need different peaks so you get a bigger sense of the whole picture, you know? I love this one way of thinking too. It's like every religion has their hand on an elephant, right? And everything they're touching is real. Like it's actually like an elephant, but they can only touch so much of the elephant, you know? So they only get a little picture of the big picture, you know? So, but in all, there's an elephant, but not like, you get what I'm trying to say? You can't really, as of one culture, you might have a truth, but it's not the whole truth, you know? But then if you look across the world, you get a little part of the truth and another truth. I seen this one photo, it was a younger lady. I swear it was a younger lady. I looked at it, I'm like, it's a younger lady. But then you squint your eyes a little bit, it's an older lady. And it's like, it's the same picture. Both are true. You know, both sides of the argument are true and actually makes a bigger, a bigger picture. And I think that's where the beauty comes in, because you get to understand that, you know what, my way of thinking is not the only way. There's other ways of thinking. So like, what happens and in your past, what have you done like when a creative clash did come up? You know, maybe it was, Jay, with you, it was like coaching, right? You had to coach the team. You had another assistant coach, and maybe he wanted a different way of doing this press or.
See, I'm going to interrupt you real quick. Mm-hmm. And the thing is, there is no clash when no one gives ideas, right? When you're talking about creativity, you're thinking about what are you bringing? Mm-hmm. If you're not bringing any idea, then why are you there? right? So say my assistant coach, I'm going to hear him out. If I see him bringing, bro, I got a new play. Oh, really? Okay, cool. Let's see it, right? I'm not going to sit there and say no. But if I keep asking you to bring plays, but you never bring them, then we got a problem because what are you waiting on, right? I'd rather someone do something and it doesn't work than do nothing. Like when we're talking about doing nothing, how can we be creative doing nothing? Creativity starts with an action, right? And as you start doing an action, then your juices start to flow. You're like, okay, well, I can improve this by this, or I can add to this, or I can do this. But you must move. So sometimes people are thinking in their head that there's going to be a magic, like you're talking about a tooth fairy. Like they're going to come and they're going to drop this creativity on you. What are you doing to be creative? What are you thinking about? If you're not doing much, that ain't coming. That's not coming. So I've never clashed for someone per se. I haven't really clashed with someone as far as bringing their creativity because I want you to bring it. And I'm more upset when you don't. See, that's when I'm going to get upset. I'm going to get upset when you don't bring it because then you're not bringing nothing to the table. You're just taking. So on everything, this is how my mind works. How can I make it better? That's it, right? Because everything has been created. A water ball has been created, a cell phone has been created, a microphone has been created, a computer has been created. But how can you add to it, right? These ain't your own ideas. You're just looking at it. How can I enhance it? So, for example, Drew, you were like, you know what? How can I enhance my mother's experience, right? You might be thinking if you do a video, how can I enhance this video, right? That's where your creativity comes in because it's like, this is not where I really wanted to be, but how can I get it there, right? That's where it comes. So when you're talking about a clash of creativity, I don't really think it's a clash because it's just brainstorm. It's like, yo, let's put every idea we have in a pot, whether there's 1,000 of them, let's put them all there. And then as we put them there, let's see what ones we want, right? But if there's nothing there to choose from, then we can't pick anything to be creative with.
Let's say we're making a movie and me and you are put on the job. We're writing a script and you got a particular way of shooting it. I got a particular way of shooting it, you know? In the real world, sometimes creativity is not enough because you have egos. I think what makes a good team is we put the ego away and go, you know what, Jay, that idea is sick, man. And this might be a better way to capture it than my idea.
For sure.
You know, and I think that's a very important point too. Because sometimes your idea might spark someone else's idea.
For sure.
But at the same time, you guys are working in unison. And even if you end up using their idea, it ended up being the better idea to use. Y'all are working together and stop, getting, your shirt stuck on the door as you keep coming in the room.
Yeah, because if you think about it, it's this. See, it's easy to put the ego away when you're thinking about the goal. The goal is to bring something with quality. That's it. If it's not about quality, why are we wasting time? I won't waste any time. If we're not trying to be the best, why are we doing it? Don't waste the time. So if someone else can help propel whatever we're doing to the next level, I'm damn sure not going to stop them because my goal was to get it to the next level. And it didn't say my goal was to get it to the next level because of my idea. No, my goal was to get it just to the next level. And I don't care whose idea it was because the goal is accomplished. So sometimes when we're setting out on a journey or a goal or we're trying to capture something, I don't give a damn who captures it. I don't care who's creating it. I don't care as long as it's better, right? So that's what I'm saying. Some people will sacrifice the team because they want their thing implemented. No, but sometimes you got to step outside yourself and say, is that going to make them better? Right? That's the whole question. Is that, yeah, it can make me better because I can go on a lot of things and make me better, but is it going to make them better? Right? Until you start thinking about, is it going to make them better? You will never be able to get anybody to go to the next level because you're selfish. Right? So it has to be, how can I make them better? If I'm on anything, if I'm a coach, how can I make that player better? How can I make my assistant coach better than what he was previously? Right? And if it's him bringing ideas to the table, then keep bringing them, man. Like bring them. I'd rather you bring them because that tells me you're invested. When you start bringing your ideas, that tells me you actually are thinking about it on your own time, and it's just not me pushing you to bring them out. You're like, okay, yeah, bro, I got something else. I got something else to bring to the table. Dope. That's what I'm gonna say is dope. You know, it was funny, and I don't want to keep talking, but I went to Metro today. I seen a guy that I used to coach. Same thing. We're talking. You know what I mean? And I told him, I said, bro, think about that, because he's like, I've been around some of these, high profile people. And I'm saying, that's cool. It's good, right? Keep doing it. I said, but the thing is this, think about this. When you're going to a potluck, what the hell are you bringing? If you're not bringing anything, you'll go there, but then you won't be invited back, right? Now, I don't care if you're bringing cups. I don't care if you're bringing water. I don't care if you're bringing a plate. It don't matter what you bring, but it's the thought that matters. Mm-hmm. You're bringing something. So as you bring something, you become more of an asset. But if we always got to tell you what to bring, or you don't bring nothing, why are you taking a plate? Right? So he understood that. He's like, yeah, I don't want to be a Klingon. I don't want to be a liability. A liability is not bringing anything to the table. An asset is bringing something to the table. It might not even be the right thing. But like they say, the thought is what counts. Mm-hmm. It's the thought. You know what I mean? I thought that this could add to your buffet, your meal, your dinner, right? So those people are going to be valued. Creativity could be you're creative enough to bring that meal. Thank you, bro. Mm-hmm. I couldn't cook that, right? And I told him one last thing. I said, think about this. I might be a master chef and I'm cooking turkey. I might be great at cooking turkey, but you might be good at cooking greens. And this other person might be good at cooking macaroni and cheese. And this person might be whatever it is. I can't do what you do. So be the best in your own lane right. So that everything is good. And the meal is creativity. How you perform that meal right. is a form of creativity that you're bringing to the table.
A hell of a way to spin it.
It's funny because say if I want to bring macaroni and cheese, but I was bringing macaroni and cheese. You know what I'm saying? It's like, bro, you make one hell of a green salad. Bring that.
Bring that.
You know what I mean? Bring something. Bring something. It's just a little off topic. I'm hooping yesterday, right? I see a shirt on a dude. I'm like, it says hope something with Jermaine, right? I'm like, yo, is that Jermaine Jackson? He goes, yep, that's my cousin, Anthony Elliott.
Yeah.
Then he tells me he's cousins with Andrew. And he's cousins with you.
I just seen him at Costco.
So I don't know if y'all family, this little family reunion, it got me tripping, bro. And I wanted to talk to him more, but before the next game, he was gone. But yeah, man, that was such a weird surprise. I was like, yo, hold up. You're cousins with Jermaine. Okay, I get that. But then you're cousins with Drew too?
The light-skinned man?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's trippy.
I was going to kind of feed off what he said.
Yeah.
So there's some people that come to these buffets, these potlucks, and they do bring something, but they never eat. They never take anything. They just bring. They just add, and then they kind of stay around, conversate, whatever. But like in life, if you take that analogy and apply it to like creativity, some people are givers. They just give. Yep. They drop this gem here, and they kind of walk away. They're not looking for nothing, no hidden agendas. They just want to leave this here, and that way, everybody that takes it benefits. It's not something, there's no plan or deep dark secret that they're trying to keep. It's just value, period. And so, I think if we could like kind of take from the people that bring to the potluck and never eat, you could really take that and apply it to other situations. You know what I'm saying?
And I'm going to apply it.
We all have to be open too.
And I'm going to apply it another way in saying, I'm going to be pissed off if someone could cook that turkey really well and they don't cook it, right? Like why didn't you bring what you're good at?
Yeah,
like it's like yo,
bring my wings.
Yeah, right. I'm like. Why didn't you bring?
You stopped at Metro, got a cake. Yo, you just go to Metro? Yeah. I just went to Metro.
Right? Like that's what I'm saying. So
that'd be ridiculous.
This is your thing. So why didn't you bring it? So I'm gonna be more pissed that you didn't bring your best to the table.
Yes.
Right? That's what I'm looking for. It's like, yo, bro, that food that you cook, that dish is bomb. So why didn't you bring that dish? So the same thing with creativity. You're saying, bro, if you got it, I'm gonna be pissed because you're keeping it away from us.
Yeah.
That's what I'm looking at. You're keeping it away and you're eating my best dish. But where the hell is yours at? That's what I want. I want your best dish too, so we can add to the pot. Like, I don't want it just to be my best dish. You need to bring your best dish so then we can all be celebrated. Like, that's the whole key. So when you're talking about creativity, so it goes back to the point where you're working with somebody and somebody might have a different idea and you have a different idea. It's like, bro, who cares? I don't care. If you cook greens better than me, bro, you're cooking them. I'm telling you right now, you're going to cook them. I'm not.
And I'm eating those ones.
Yes, right? Like, I'm not going to be mad and be like, yo, man, he's cooking them. No, I'm celebrating your dish. I'm celebrating your creativity. Like with me, I'm going to celebrate someone's creativity and say, yo, bro, what you just thought of was like crazy. You know what I mean? I'm going to smile because I'm like, yo, dang, that was crazy that what you thought about. Instead of thinking like, bro, you have something in you, but how come you don't share it with me? Why in the hell you keep feeding somebody else, but you keep coming over here and eating too? Like, I'm gonna get mad because it's like, yo, man, why don't you share that same good stuff that you have over there that you're sharing with them? Why don't you share with me? You know what I mean? I would like that too, right? So sometimes we stop our own creativity because we think it's gonna be a conflict. And there ain't gonna be one. The conflict is that you're not bringing nothing to the table for us to eat.
Conflicts are created.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna take a little different step because when I was thinking about creativity, I was thinking about Drew. I was thinking about you making music with your daughter, and even your son bopping his head to your music, and that video went crazy. So like, what does creativity mean to you when it comes to being able to share that gift with your kids, and what do you see in them? Like, because for me, like when I write a song or when I write something and when I listen to it, especially when I think I hit the note, I'm excited. I'm doing karate chops in the air. I'm doing karate kicks in the air. You know what I mean? Hopefully there's not like a camera hitting camera scene, all that shit. But I'm really enjoying myself, and I really feel like I expressed myself and I got it off my chest. So how do you feel? How do you feel about creativity when it comes to writing a song with your daughter, or letting your son listen to your music for the first time and seeing him bob his head? Because if he didn't bob his head, it ain't the right one.
I screwed up.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, parenting itself is creativity. You got to create on the fly. You got to adjust. You got to create routines. You got to figure out what's going to work, what's not. And with my son, he's got like certain conditions, but I call them gifts. Echolalia is one of them. If he hears something maybe 3-4 times, he can repeat it verbatim.
Wow.
Which means like word for word, tone for tone, everything.
And he remembered that for a while?
Like he recites commercials, he recites songs, he recites everything. So once I learned that, I got creative. I said, all right, let's have this studio time, musical therapy every day at this time. And then I put him in the studio, and basically he runs the house, and he just sits there and takes it all in. But then you can tell when he's disconnected, he's had enough. He kind of walks out. He's looking for something else to do. And at that point, I have to adjust, turn the music off. Now he wants to go on the trampoline. That's one thing. And then when it goes back to the music, though, see, that's how I include him with the music and then kind of let him flourish. But when it comes to making a song with my daughter, I mean, that was sentimental, first of all. That was the best moment of my life. It marked the first time I ever rapped on a song, produce it, and put it out. And then, I had my daughter by my side. That you can't ask for a better first time. So not only that, it was sentimental because it was about all the people we ever lost, right? So you make a project like that with your kid. You're trying to get the vocals out of them and encourage them. There's a lot of creative juices going on right there. Just me and her sitting down with a pen and a pad. That is pure creation right there. Because I'll write something and she'll read it over and she'll be like, Dad, it would sound a lot better if you replace this word with this word. And then boom, one person fed another person an idea. The other person had an openness and to that idea, received it, and now we're able to create something even better together. And so that's what we did. And then in the end, as soon as I listened to it, I started crying right away as soon as I heard it. Because I'm always the first one to hear it. And I listened to it, man, and I just broke the hell down because, you know, obviously we just lost my brother and sister. And, you know, I started thinking about my son. I started thinking about my mom. And then I started thinking, you know, uncles, aunts. I was like, why does this song have to be about one particular person? It should be shared by everybody. So I restructured the song with her, and we made it so that everybody could be in on it. And it's not just about one individual or another. And so, yeah, man, it was a great, fun project. But I think inclusiveness, making sure you're getting their opinions and valuing what they have to say about, you know, what they think about something, and then kind of bouncing it off your ideas and seeing where we can mold and create something better. That's what I was saying. It was a definite creative experience.
What's it like to okay, now you made the song, you did all the work, and then pressing play and hearing it all mixed and seeing, you know.
It's wild, man. And it's like, you did that.
Yeah.
You did that. And then I'm thinking to myself, when I'm gone, she could just press play and she's got it. And not many kids can say, I made a song with my dad. And that's creativity 101 right there.
Because I'm going to do something creative because I'm behind the boards. I'm going to pause this podcast for a second and play your daughter singing. It's going to be beautiful. Here it goes.
Sun down daily as I wait for you to come home to me. And lately, time seems to bring me back to those memories. Sun down daily as I wait for you to come home to me. And lately, time seems to bring me back to those memories.
I feel kinda empty and I feel kinda lost. I know I'm getting stronger, but what's the fuck?
You
All
right?
right, now we back. You know what I
I
mean?
thought you was actually gonna play.
He's gonna implement it. I know what he was doing.
Yeah. Because while I'm editing, I can,
for
chop.
sure.
What about you, Jay? You're a success coach, man, and you're a success coach for United Way. And I know when you walk into a room, you see everything that's being done, and you see everything that could be done better. And I feel like that's why kids, are gravitated towards you. Whether you're playing a little pickup game, whether you're allowing them, like you're not rigid in your ideas. You're not like, yo, my idea is the best idea. But I feel like a lot of us fail because we think our idea is the best idea, and then we're not even being able to be creative in our success coach job. Like we're a success coach and we can't even help people succeed because we're in our own little world. You know what I mean?
For sure.
So could you speak on that a little bit? Like how has creativity helped you?
It just helps, man, because it's like as far as if I'm teaching, right? I'm teaching a kid, I got to explain it in multiple ways. I might have to explain it in 20 different ways so you understand
For
it,
20 different kids.
right? I might have to explain, that creativity and I tie it back to food. I might have to explain the creativity and it ties back to math. It might be creativity and ties back to video games. Whatever it is that you enjoy, I'm going to relate it to it. So most of the teachers, they're just straightforward. This is how you got to do it.
Did we say it on the podcast? I don't know. One of my favorite stories from you is how you got a math class to get all their grades up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it was a creative way to do it because people in the school weren't doing it that way.
Yeah, for sure.
You know what I mean?
I don't know if I spoke about that.
I don't think you did, but I think it's a great story. You should speak on it.
Okay, so I go into a classroom. I remember I was student teacher at the time. I go in the classroom and I'm looking at it. I'm analyzing the room, like which I always do. So I'm like, okay, you know what? Some of these kids are not in the right spot. They're not with the right people. I see distractions everywhere. So I'm thinking about how can I structure it so that they're in the best spot to perform their best. And that's where I'm saying with teaching. Teaching comes in with, you don't think about yourself. You think about them. Coaching, you don't think about how you would play. You think about how they would play. So I go into the classroom, and it's kind of like it's a zoo. And it's one of the worst classes, literally, that I've seen. So I go to the teacher, and I say, you know what? Do you mind if I change some things? Because since I'm going to be here for 6 weeks. Do you think I can maybe implement a few things? With chaos and with things being so bad, people will give you a chance.
Please,
right?
Jay.
Yeah. So if it was, so that's why sometimes your best thing is going to be amongst
Chaos?
the worst.
Yeah, that's so true.
Because they'll give you the chance.
Yeah.
Because they're like, well, what else
tried
can
everything
happen?
else,
You know what I
yeah.
mean?
And then the opposite too, because chaos can bring the best out of you too. So it works both ways.
For sure,
But yeah, go
right?
ahead.
So I'm looking at it, and she's like, you know what? She can't control the classroom, so it's just a zoo. So I said, you know what? This is what I'm gonna do. So I switched her whole seating plan up the next day. So I said, you know what? I gotta construct my situation where they can't move. There's no maneuvering, right? And I could stop that. I could stop that by having a certain situation, how the desks are seated. So then I'm like, okay. I talked to the kids, and I was like, you know what? How many of you guys are good at math? Nobody puts their hands up. Maybe like 2 out of like 25. So I said, how many people would enjoy math if you would do well? So everybody puts their hands up. So I said, okay, this is what I'm going to do. I said, I'm here for the next 6 weeks. I said, we have a quiz in 2 weeks. I said, if you do everything you're supposed to do that I tell you to do, you will get a minimum of B, 100%. They're like, oh, okay. No, man, I never got a B. I never got a B. I said, you'll get a B. Trust me. Just do what I tell you to do. That means do your homework, pay attention, do what I tell you to do. So that week, they're paying attention, doing their homework, whatnot. So I give them the quiz. I get back the quiz. The quiz is not what it's supposed to be. They didn't get a B. They didn't really earn a B. Someone were still at D. Someone went from maybe, say, if you said F to D, and then you go from a D to a C, and maybe a C to a B. So, but what I did was I grabbed their paper, I grabbed their tests, I erased some answers, I put the answers in they didn't know. So they got it back and they seen a B. So they said, oh, wow. Whatever you told me did come true. I said, yeah, for sure. I said, so next time, the same thing applies. We got a quiz in 2 weeks. Do everything I tell you to do. You will get a B 100%. Don't worry. So now they're doing their work. Now they're locked in. They're buying it, right? So now I'm racing. I get the quiz back again. I'm racing less answers, right? Instead of me racing 10, I'm racing 5. Right? So they get it back and they get a B. They're like, damn, okay. Right? So now they're in the momentum. They're in the rhythm now. Right? We've been 4 weeks in, doing your homework, paying attention, not being disruptive. Okay, let's go the next 2 weeks. I said, in 2 weeks, I'm gone, guys. So we were having a unit test. So I give them the unit test. Then I'm like, I told you the same thing. You'll get a B. So they do their test. I don't have to race anything. Now they're at peace.
Beautiful.
Right? So the whole thing was the reason why they were scared to try because they thought they were going to fail. Right? I knew this as psychology. And, you know, when you're talking about anything, why would you try your hardest if you think that's not going to be a good result? So I had to get rid of everything with their past of them being unsuccessful and show them that you can be successful. So it's like, you know what? If you do what you're supposed to do and you take the steps, a good result will happen, man. Right? They had to buy into that. But when I gave them that, I could have crushed their confidence the first test when I gave it back and they had a D. Because then they'd be like, well, you told me to do this for 2 weeks and now I got a D. So I'm not doing nothing no more. So I had to build the confidence up early and then build the habits up. And then now they believed in themselves. Okay, yeah, I can get a B if I do my work. Not only can I get a B, I can get an A. I said, imagine if you put more work into it, then you get A's, right? I said, but most people had no success for so long that they gave up trying, right? If you look at most people's fears, it's fear of failure, right? Why don't you want to do that public speaking? Well, I don't want to look bad. Why don't you want to take that test? I might fail it. If you can get rid of the failure aspect and you say anything that you put into it, you can excel. You'll see people start really excelling because they won't have the fear of failure. You can't have a fear of failure. You can't have a fear of losing. You got to be focused so much on the winning aspect that the failure goes out the drain. Kobe Bryant didn't train hard. He said, I didn't train because I was scared about failing. I want to enjoy this. I want to enjoy it and progress and get better. So I never really looked at the game as if I lose. If I lose it, then it's opportunity to learn. If I take this last shot and I miss it, so what? I'll have another one. But as I get more and more reps, that game winning shot ain't nothing to me because I was brave enough to take it. So a lot of times when people don't give their ideas, it's not really a reflection of you. It's almost a reflection of them because they don't have enough confidence enough to give their idea. Bro, it doesn't matter if it's the greatest idea. Just give me something. You know what I mean? If you give something, then you can go further and forward. You know, like I tell people, I talked to one kid. I got stories because I talk to kids all the time, but I talked to one kid at the tutoring, and he said, I got to write 3 paragraphs. He said, well, what should I do? I don't know where to start. I said, just start. Start writing. Don't worry about grammar. Don't worry about correcting. Don't worry about none of that. Just start writing. And as you start to write, you're going to start, something's going to come to you. And then as you come to it, then you go back over it. That's why you have rough drafts. That's why you have second drafts. That's why you have third drafts and fourth drafts and fifth draft. Your first one is just going. You put that paper, you get that pencil, and you start just writing. And wherever it goes, because then you can be like, okay, now I'm going to refine it.
Beautiful.
Right? It's all about the refinement of your work. It's all about believing that you won't fail, even though it may be a possibility to fail. But you got to have that belief so much that you won't fail that it will override the failure aspect.
When I hear you,
Well said.
I just hear loving the journey. You know, I'm just gonna love the repetitions. When Kobe's in the gym, he's just loving getting up in the morning and loving to, actually put these shots up. And he's not focused on the end result, even though the end result's there at the back of his mind. It's not on his mind every day. He's like, no, if I put one step ahead of the other, I'm eventually gonna get up this mountain. And if I look too far out down the line, now I freeze up. Now it's
Yeah,
like, damn,
exactly.
It looks too big. But if you break it down into days, that's why it's beautiful. God gave us days.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Every day is a new day.
Exactly.
You get one other chance to put one foot ahead of the other. You know what I mean?
Right? I remember I had this thing on my Facebook, not my Facebook, on Instagram. When I seen it, it really spoke to me. And it was a ladder, right? And then it was a ladder that had all the rings, right, that you can climb up. And then there was a ladder that had a big old gap. So even though you're climbing up the same ladder, you're not realizing you got to take each step to get there, right? You can't, because sometimes that goal you got is too far up. You can't even reach it, right? So it's like you had to build yourself up in the meantime to be able to get to that goal. You know what I mean? I can't think about climbing Mount Everest when I don't climb even the hills in my neighborhood. Like, it takes time, it takes steps. So it's like, okay, if we're doing anything, is it literally better than last week? If it's not, you're not taking any steps. I don't care if you took a step and it was the wrong step, but then you're like, okay, now I know that's not it. That's not it.
Right.
Right? So it's like, it's taking those steps, it's taking those goals, it's breaking them down, right? And then it's just applying. You know what I mean? Your creativity is going to come when you apply. Everything's going to come more when you start applying what you do, because you're going to wonder, like, man, I never even thought of that before.
If I could branch off what you just said, I remember being younger, I played Super Mario World on Super Nintendo, and there was a cheat code you could put in and go straight to the last level and face the big dog and win the game right there. And I kept dying because you're not ready. You ain't got all the tools. You haven't learned, you haven't earned, you haven't, done nothing. And there's things you got to figure out and find out, unlock to get to that point. And it's a sweeter victory too, if you earn it. But if you skip, let's say even you win the game, you're going to walk away like, man, there's so much undiscovered lands, and I got to
It's the whole game.
I'm just going to go back and play again. You end up playing again and taking in all the fruits.
Yeah.
And the reason is because there's no value if you just skip ahead in life with anything.
No.
So thank you for saying that, because I remember that feeling. I put the code in and I'm like so confident. This is the best decision ever. And then I get there, I'm like, this is bullshit. And then I go back and play the game for real, and then I took it in. So I mean,
I paid all
that's-
this money for one level.
right. Yeah, man.
For real. For real.
So
You got to take it in, man. Like when you're talking about anything, you got to take in the journey, man.
yeah.
Like, the journey is the funnest part of it. You know what I mean? It's not necessarily getting to the end, because half the time when you get to the end, you're like, that was it?
Yeah, no, it's over. It's like,
Man.
wow.
You know what I mean? Like, it's like, yo, man, I wanted to put some time in to get there. I
Yeah.
wanted to take the step. I wanted to learn from every step instead of jumping steps. In life, you can't do it, man. Like I seen one guy, he said, if you would have gave me all that success at right now, you would have destroyed me. Right? Sometimes you get success so fast that it will destroy you because you're not ready for it.
Yeah.
Right? So it's like, it's always about, okay, you know what? Are you ready for that moment? You know what? I want to get recruited by this school. I want to be on this TV. I want to be on this podcast. I think I'm ready. Are you? Right? Are you ready? Because sometimes you go there and you think you're ready because you get an opportunity, and the opportunity was going to destroy you because you actually not. Preparation is the key.
But you said it right there. Falling in love with the journey is so massive, because it's the little moments in between too, right? Like that's what I remember. Like if I'm making a song with my brother, or even if we're doing a pod here, like I remember the shakes after, or like, you know, the look in your eyes, like, yo, that was it. You know what I mean? But you don't get to even experience those fruits if you're just trying to skip to the last level. It is in the journey. Today I heard Steve Jobs speak. I heard this guy speak multiple times, but this one really, like, you know, stuck out to me. Maybe it's where I am in life, but he said, when you look around, everything ever made was made by people no better than you.
Yeah, for sure.
And once you unlock that, it pretty much takes the pressure off you, and you're able to attack everything with full ferocity, because one, you're not comparing yourself to anybody else, and you're only comparing yourself to yourself, but you're just looking to create. You got an open canvas, and now you get to create. So one thing I definitely want to say to anybody listening is, if you have something on your mind, you want to make a song, you want to make a video, you want to write a poem, go do it. Like, don't even stress. Just jump the hell in and go do it. Don't compare yourself to the best of the world, or this rating or that rating, or your homie over there. Nah, this is between you and you. So put that work in, and it will result in fruits, and you'll learn from the way. But if you never even try, you're not going to learn nothing. And you're going to feel like there's like dead dreams. Like you had these dreams inside you that you wanted to let out. And for some reason, one reason or the other, you didn't. And that's what we talk about even when you get close to dying, you know? I got sick this past weekend, and it put things into perspective. Like, I was like, damn, like, hopefully it's not anything. Like, I started thinking, like, yo, what is this? I started brain fog. I don't know what was going on. And I was like, man, this is scaring me, man. Like, I want to make sure I really rinse it. You know, I really use all of my capability. And then really sometimes for me personally, I didn't do it because of the mountain. It looked like a mountain, so I'm like, yo, I didn't do it. But now it's like, you know, big, fall in love with the journey, man. Like, just put one step ahead of the other, whether it's a song, whether it's a video, whether it's, you know, some film photos, whatever it is, whether it's a podcast, put one step ahead of the other, and you're going to get so far, man. You're going to look behind you and be like, damn, I just traveled 10,000 kilometers. You know what I mean?
Sure.
And it's going to be a beautiful thing. Do not compare yourself to anybody else. You can look at the competition around you, learn from them, but it's you against you. Even though I heard this thing so many times in my life, I never really put it into perspective. No, it really is you versus you. Even when you guys leave, I end up being here with myself. It's how I feel about myself. And that's a crazy thing with emotions and stuff too. It's, you know, when you feel something, it's really you feeling it inside of you. It's not really
for
you reflecting it on them. No, I'm hurting inside.
For sure.
That's why I express myself the way I do. But it's a beautiful thing, and we get to explore that. But I just wanted to say that because, you know, anybody listening to this that's, you know, looking at creativity clearly, it's like, go create something. Like, just go do it. Don't stress about it. You know what I mean? If it's shit, man. It's okay. It'll get better. You know, and you know your gifts more than anybody else. You know if you make a fire pot roast. You know if you make fire wings. You know what I mean? So, you know, get in the lab and go create something.
Think about pressure, man. You think about pressure. I tell people, I said, I don't feel pressure. I apply it. It's a difference. It's a difference, right?
Let's go.
Right? You know, when you feel pressure, that's paralyzing you. I'm not here to be paralyzed. I'm here to apply pressure. So anything I'm attacking, I'm not worried about it attacking me because I'm too busy attacking it. Right? So when you have an animal, for example, an animal is going to be scared of you when you started being aggressive to the animal. But when you're passive, he can sense the passive, right? So it's like anything that you're doing, you got to be so focused on being great. You ain't thinking about it going wrong. How's it going to go wrong when I'm applying that much? You know, so I'm gonna take you to something I said when I used to coach, and they used to be like, "Well, what's your defense?" I said, "My defense is my offense." Like, what you mean? I said, "Bro, I'm applying so much pressure on the offense, they can't even think about even fucking scoring on me."
Let's go.
You know what I'm saying? Because they're so focused on trying to stop me. Right? They're not thinking about playing offense. They're worried about playing defense.
Yo, they're on defense.
Right.
They're on offense thinking about defense.
They're thinking about defense, right? So even when you're on offense, for example, so if you're coaching, if they're thinking about, man, if I shoot, they're gonna grab that ball, we're gonna grab it, and they're gonna go on fast break. Well, you're shooting and running back.
And you're thinking about you're thinking about everything but the shot.
Yeah, you're thinking about the shot. You're not thinking about the shot because you're thinking about, man, if they get the rebound, they're gone, right? So when you think about it in life, are you playing offense? Are you playing defense? I don't want to play defense. At certain points of time, you're going to play defense to try to protect. But if you're playing offense so much, offense is growth. That's where it's happening. You're just going out there and you're pressuring, and when you pressure, you have a tendency to sometimes make mistakes, and mistakes going to happen, right? When you pressure, you'll make mistakes, but guess who's also going to make mistakes? It's the person that you're pressuring. They're going to be making more mistakes than anything. So I'm saying, and you could take that for yourself and saying, if I'm pressuring myself to that extent, I'm making mistakes because I'm so worried about playing defense that I can't even produce no more, right? So in order to produce, you got to be out there producing. You can't be on your heels thinking you're going to produce anything because it's so much pressure on you. So pressure is what we exert on ourselves, right? I say take that pressure that you feel in yourself and put it on something else and then apply that pressure there.
You were talking about discouragement with the kids, but in life, when we're discouraged, it removes any possibility of you going forward or making a move because you already took it off the table right off the bat. But when you talking about going on offense, I mean, I'm a simple man, a single dad. I was on welfare. Basically, my life was already planned out because when you have a special needs child, you're limited to what you could do. There's no resources, blah, blah, blah. I still went on offense and I said, no, there's a way. These kids are getting older. Things are getting easier. You know, Illy can watch him, stuff like that. Okay, I'm just going to try to see where this goes. And now that I have my lifestyle coaching business implemented, I got the King's Kitchen business implemented. The sky's the limit for both. But now I'm thinking like, I'm going to make another one.
Why not?
And I'm already thinking about what my next move is going to be. So, and it's something totally off grid. Nobody would even think about that. But I've been doing it over the course of my whole life. And I'm really good at it. And I'm finally saying, you know what? I have been creative to this. I've been building it. I've been taking pictures of it. And I've been kind of building my, I guess, portfolio, if you will. And so when I come out, I'm going to come out hitting the ground running and doing something that is going to pour even more creative juices into me. And now that might spark a fourth business. But the point is my kid's watching. I want her to take that and apply it to her own life. When you're down and out, when you're struggling, when you can't find a job, create your own job. Don't wait. Just create. Go on the offense, like he said. I love that.
Yep.
You're saying some great stuff here, Drew. Just off the base fact that we have the most tools ever in human history right now in our fingertips. You know what I mean? Jay's right. You can make a movie on your phone.
Whether we like to admit it or not,
Yeah.
you were right.
Yeah. You know
Yo,
what I mean?
man, I talked to one guy, same kid I was talking to. He's like, yo, he said he's been watching our podcast. He's not a kid, but they're all kids to me now, but probably like 30 years old.
They're all my sons.
right? Yeah, right. So
They're all my sons.
I know men that are my age, they're kids.
right? So like I told him, I said, bro, I said, use what you got. And that's whatever it is.
Yeah.
If you got a phone, use that shit. Right? I don't care what it is. Maximize whatever that you have. Don't think about, he's like, yo, what do you think I need to get for the podcast? Blah, blah, blah. I want to do a podcast. I said, bro, just start off small, man.
Yeah.
Right? Just start off small, bro. Like, I don't care if you're talking in your damn phone.
There's an app for that.
Right? That's what I'm saying. I said, bro, just do it, man. I said, just do it. And then he's like, yo, man, because he wants to, I got the ear for the music. He said, I do. He said, but I can't. No, first he started off telling me, he said, yo, I don't know what I love, man. Everybody else find what they love. I can't find it. He said, but man, so I was talking to him more, and I said, yo, he's like, man, I would dream to be, someone like a manager for music. I said, then you got the love. What you talking about? It's right there. I said, just go do that. And I said, do it different though. I said, be a sponge. So when you're around whoever that you do know that's doing it, bro, prepare. Go prepare yourself. Go learn some stuff. Do some stuff. I said, bro, I'm going to tell you one thing. Because, I coached him when he was a kid. He said, I wasn't that, he said, I wish I would have been more serious about ball. I said, yeah. I said, but you can be serious now. So what you going to do now?
Beautiful.
Right? You learn that being not serious got you nowhere. So why don't you try the other method and start being serious, and maybe it can get you somewhere. And then he said, yo, I know about the real estate. I have a love for that. I said, but guess what? Sometimes you got to do something that you don't want to do so you can get what you want. I said, you got to put the work in. I said, how in the hell are you on Netflix or watching anything right now? I said, bro, I ain't watched shit in 3 months. Nothing. I don't watch nothing. The only thing I'm watching about how to get better. That's it. If I'm on there, I'm watching some shit to get better. I said, if you're trying to catch up to someone, I'm going to tell you a trick. You ain't going to catch up to them when they're in front of you and you're doing the same shit as them. Why would you? They're going to stay in front of you. I said, you got to double up. So if he's working 1 hour, 2, 3 hours, you got to fucking be at 6 because you're trying to catch up. So all that Netflix and all that free time and all that stuff, yo, you got to get rid of it unless you're about to start doing movies. Now, if you're about to do movies, then watch the Netflix, watch the shows. I get it. But you got to put into your craft. I can't want to be a mechanic, but I'm watching woodworking. That shit don't make sense. I can't want to be a master chef, but I'm spending all my time watching videos of not cooking. Now, if you're watching cooking, for sure, you're studying your craft. Just like when I was coaching basketball, I watched a lot of basketball. Every night I was watching basketball, but I'm not coaching no more. So why am I watching basketball to that extent? Maybe I might watch it once in a while, but I ain't in it like that. I'm in something else now. So whatever you're doing as far as creativity, some people, they want to be so creative, but they don't know the basics. How the hell are you going to be creative when you don't know the basics? I couldn't think about being a creative moving basketball, but I can't do a basic layup. I can't think about crossing over somebody, and I can't even dribble. Right? You got to learn that first, and then that's when the fun part comes, and now you become creative because now it's like, you know what? I got a good foundation. Now I can do whatever I want. I said, but until you do that, you're not going nowhere. Right? So I talked to him for like a good hour. And I'm like, yo, bro, you know what it is. So then that means the next time I see you,
It's up.
I better hear something that you're not just doing the same bullshit, because I'm not having these conversations, because these conversations really going to be some money in a minute, right? So I am not having this in 6 months talking about what you're going to do. I wanted to see you just start doing it. And then if it fails, bro. But we can't be sitting on the same topic, the same conversation 6 months later because we didn't move absolutely nowhere. And then your competition actually moves somewhere, right? Because just because you're not working doesn't mean your competition's not.
Very true. Very true. If Drew, you have something to say, man. Otherwise, we're sitting at that, we were getting up there now.
No, we good, man. As long as everybody took those gems out of this one.
That's a beautiful one, man.
Yeah.
This was a beautiful one, man. Creativity.